Well, it's 1-0 Australia after victory at Wembley in the first Ashes test. For England, the revenge mission is on at Bramley-Moore, Everton's new stadium. We're in the England team hotel. Let's catch up with head coach Shaun Wane on his thoughts from Saturday and his thoughts ahead of the second test. So joined now by England head coach Shaun Wane. Shaun, thank you for joining us. I know it would have been a difficult few days for you. I feel like we obviously need to debrief on Saturday before we look ahead to this weekend. And did it feel like after all the build-up, all the hype, that you just didn't quite reach the intensity, the levels that you needed to?
Yeah, I would say that. We didn't. It had the potential of being a fantastic game, and we didn't get to them levels. We undersold ourselves. We didn't play nowhere near as well as we can, and that's really disappointing. We've analysed what we did last week and we're still looking at it now. What every drill we did, how many days we trained, and did we train too hard, not hard enough, and you know, we'll make sure that we don't make the same mistake. And it's a good week this week.
You mentioned at the weekend that a lot of the stuff that you'd seen, you felt was going to be easy fixes, stuff that you could address. Now that you've had a chance to kind of reassess it a few more times, plenty more times, I'm sure, do you still feel that you can kind of point at what went wrong, but also point at a solution?
Yeah, definitely. Without getting too technical, the way we ended our sets, play 4-5 kick, wasn't the best. We didn't give ourselves a chance for them to come out their end, and they did the same towards we was camped down in our end quite a bit. So it was tough to handle. They did a lot of good things really well, but we just turned the ball over so much. You know, like errors and making line breaks and dropping the ball and things like that was just not like us. We've done things so well against Amor and Tonga, and then we get to this game and just underperform so much.
I had a bit of a sort of flick through the stats from the weekend, and perhaps, I know numbers can be deceiving, but perhaps when you look at them, England made less errors, conceded less penalties, had nearly twice as much ball in Australia's 20 as they had in England's 20. Speed of the play, the ball was about 3/4 of a second quicker from England. When you look at all of those indicators that before the game you probably would have looked at as being real positive things, does that show the kind of difference between Test match football and perhaps Super League, and that you can do all of those things right but still come a cropper if you don't ice your chances?
100%, you've nailed it. They made line breaks and they were ruthless. They finished the tries off, and we made line breaks and made errors. So that's it in a nutshell. And you can have as much possession as you want, but if you're not critical on crucial moments, then they're going to get away from you. And compared to coaching Super League, when you get to international standard, the margin for error is so small, and we just made too many errors.
And then the other stat that jumped out to me, average run metres per set, England at 32, Australia 15 metres more, 47. Now, I know there's some line breaks baked into that, but does that kind of tell you that in terms of that battle in the middle and those yardage battles that they were one step ahead?
Yeah, they won that, and that's a big area where we need to get better. The line speed was better than us, and where collision took place was they beat us at that as well. So all them areas can be fixed. We just need to be mentally good this weekend.
I suppose in terms of that set gain, there's two sides to that coin, isn't there? Because you can look at that and say, well, England should be making more metres, but I guess the other job is how do we bring Australia's number down as well?
Exactly. It's very hard to nail every single detail of every game, but that is an area where we can, without a shadow of a doubt, get better, without getting bogged down with all the detail. But it's on the floor, what we did on the floor compared to what Australia did, and I can hear the referee talking about their hands on ball, and that had a big influence on how quick we played the ball, and then we lose momentum, and then our next play is not as good. So I would like, going into this week's game, some absolute clear message of what's acceptable and what's not. You know, I don't want it to be dictated by the referee. Have lots of stoppages. I just want the chance to have somebody tell me straight exactly how it's going to be refereed, and we can just have a real test match.
In terms of selection, a lot of the talk externally ahead of last weekend was going to be how you were going to arrange the spine, plenty of options, but all players with different strengths and weaknesses. Williams and Lewis, the choice on Saturday looked like quite an attacking setup with Wellesby out the back. It felt like that, certainly in the first 20, 25 minutes, the way that you looked to attack. Is that something that you've looked at this week and gone, well, we're referring to those fifth tackle options as well, maybe we need to give ourselves a little bit more of a plan B, plan C in those situations?
Yeah, we did, and there was certain areas within that attacking sets you're talking about where there's tiny bit of detail, which is very technical, where we was a bit off, which you can easily fix. And Australia nailed it with us when they was attacking us, but we didn't nail it with them. And that's something what we need to practice this week and make sure it never happens again.
Just one player I know didn't feature, probably not as many minutes as he would have liked, but I felt Owen Trout, when he came on, had a real dig, showed a lot of that aggression that you'd spoken about. And as international debuts go, Australia at Wembley in the first Ashes test is about as baptism of fire as you could have given him. But it must have felt like, you know, he did himself some favours in that game.
Yeah, he did okay. He did okay. I expected a bit more with his defence, but he did okay. I was happy with him. It's a big step, like you say. His debut game, and it's Australia at Wembley. It's a huge game for him, but I thought he handled it very, very well. Moving
on to Saturday, I suppose all of your preparation last week would have been based on what you think Australia are going to do. We don't get a huge amount of looks at them because of the international calendar. I guess the advantage this week is that you've got kind of 80 minutes of real life, raw data to look at and try and plot what they're going to throw at you.
Yeah, we'll do a proper review this week. We couldn't do that before, really, in great detail, but we've got lots of information. But even when we're speaking after the game with the players are saying the right things anyway. They knew the areas where we were a bit off, but they just didn't manage to fix it on game day, which is, unfortunately, we've let a test match get away from us, and that's super disappointing because we so badly wanted to give a good account of ourselves, and that is gutting for everybody.
A lot of talk about venues in this series. Obviously, the first non-football event to go to the new Everton Stadium. Loads of talk about Wembley last week. I thought Wembley was really good, but I think I've read that Bramley Moor's supposed to be acoustically the best stadium in the world or something like that. There's an opportunity for the crowd to play a real part. It's going to be a proper Heartlands Rugby League crowd, not a seat spare in that game, and that might just be the lift, especially in those opening exchanges, to lift England, but also tell Australia that this isn't going to be comfortable.
Yeah, and that's what the English crowd will do. You know, when we played against Tonga and Samoa, when we played at Leeds, it's been fantastic atmosphere. And in the World Cup, when we played at Ormond Grounds, it was very, very enjoyable. But this is going to be special. The things I've heard about Everton's new ground, I'm going on Thursday with the team. But I've heard unbelievably good things about the sound. You know, it generates atmosphere, and anything we can do to get 1% gain on Australia, that would be fantastic. You know, because they're very, very strong. They've got an unbelievable team, but the crowd's going to play a massive part of it, no doubt.
From a coaching perspective, I know it's tiny details, but I suppose when you go to Wembley and Headingley, you kind of know what to expect. You know what the playing surface is going to be like, the size of them, even things like the wind. Have you done a bit of a recce on Everton to find out exactly what you're going into? I know it's obviously right on the docks. I suspect it might be quite windy down there at times. Is that the kind of thing that you take into account?
Yeah. Well, it's shorter than Wembley, and we'll look at the measurements and we'll try to get them into Rugby Park where we train as much as possible. We're training at the stadium on Thursday as well, so that's going to be a big help for the players to get used to the widths and the length of the field and the kicking, how they kick and what sort of kicks are going to get the best benefit, and that's going to be worthwhile.
When you come into Test 2 on the back of what happened on Saturday, does that kind of up the ante in terms of the players are going to want to be more aggressive, England want to be more aggressive, that first carry is going to need to set the tone? Is there an element of we need to respond early on in this game? Yeah,
Lewis, the players are hurting. There's no doubt about that. They don't like what happened. They don't like the thought that we got pumped in such an important game, and so there will be a response. That type of performance won't happen again. I'm sure we'll be a lot better this week. There was a bit of unknown in last Saturday, and they handled that a lot better than us, which is unfortunate, but hopefully you'll see a different performance this week.
Well, Shaun, best of luck at the weekend.
Thanks, Lewis.
That's all. So Shaun Wane with some big decisions, both tactically and selection-wise, ahead of the second test at Everton. One of the players, of course, coming off the bench at the weekend was Jez Litten. He kicked a 40-20 at Wembley. Let's catch up with the Hull KR and England hooker. Alongside me now, England hooker Jez Litten. Jez, just touching on Saturday at Wembley, obviously disappointing, and I'll ask a question about that in a minute. But firstly, an England test against Australia at Wembley, as a career experience, I know probably bitter memories at the moment, but do you think it's one you'll look back on in a few years' time and go, well, it was something amazing to be a part of?
Yeah, hopefully. Obviously disappointed. So I haven't really thought too much about how good of an experience it was to play there. But hopefully in years to come I can look back on it. But full focus on this week and improving on what we can from the game. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
What's the mood been like since? Because from the outside looking in, certainly for the first sort of 50 minutes, didn't feel like we were that far away from Australia. It felt like small margins, small decisions, felt like the game was really in the balance. They just were able to find a gear at a time when perhaps England weren't.
Yeah, I just think there was clinical. Full credit to them for the game. But we've had a look at the game together and we know where we can improve on. And I think if we tweaked a few things, we created some good opportunities. So looking to put that right this week, and yeah, all the boys are motivated and happy to be back in camp.
And there aren't too many lads in this England group that would have played Australia before. Obviously, no one that's played them in a home Ashes series before. From your perspective coming in, I know you've played in big games, grand finals, cup finals. Did you kind of notice a step up in speed, intensity, all of those kind of markers?
Definitely. I mean, even coming into camp and training with our boys, you see the step up of intensity and how good all the players are, and yeah, you just want to replicate that and on the pitch. And yeah, it's something we're looking to do this week, and we've got a massive opponents in Australia, but we've got a great team, and we know if we can put a few things right, we'll be right in the mix.
Shaun's spoken about your role coming off the bench in that game. Is that something you're comfortable doing, coming in and trying to add a bit of impetus and speed into it?
Yeah, either really. I can play a role of coming off the bench, or I can play a starting role as well, so whatever the team needs me, do anything for my country and to play in a test match. So yeah, hopefully I can get that opportunity to do it this week.
A big job on your hands at Everton at the weekend, but I suppose what Saturday's result will do, if you needed it, is really narrow the focus and raise the stakes even more.
Yeah, definitely, it's a must-win. These next two games are must-wins. That's the only option. So we know what we're up against, and we know what we've got to do this week. Pretty sure it'll be a tough training week, but all the boys are looking forward to it.
Atmosphere-wise, obviously it's going to be a sellout. I think they're expecting it to be probably 95 plus 99% English fans. I know it's supposed to be a very good kind of acoustic stadium in terms of the noise. You must be looking forward to making that place feel like it is a home game, but making it feel like a real fortress.
Yeah, definitely. I watched Everton the other night and it seemed a great atmosphere there. So to be able to play there at a great stadium and for a great occasion, it'll be a dream really. And yeah, hopefully we can get the job done and take it to Edinburgh for a decider.
Are you the kind of player, kind of bloke that kind of ticks these things off? I know you've done obviously Wembley, Old Trafford, you're going to do Vegas next year. Are you the kind of guy that looks at these venues and stadiums and wants to get as many of them done, or does it not really bother you?
No, not really. Maybe in years to come I'll look back and appreciate it, but we're here for a job. We don't want to look at it saying, oh, we're doing this and we're ticking this off. We're here to win for our country and for our team, and yeah, that's the main focus.
What will it mean to go to Everton and put Saturday right?
Just be everything. I mean, I've only been home a couple of days, but it's what's been on my mind. You try and spend some family time, but I think for the past couple of days I've just been thinking about the game and how I want to put things right, and I think all the boys will be like that. So to get back in camp now, I'm motivated and ready to go. And
for you personally, do you feel like your experience with Hull KR in the last couple of years, being in finals, being in big games, being in that intense environment, is that helping you on weeks and occasions like this?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I've been in disappointing games over the past couple of years when I've had my heart broken in finals and stuff, and that's what it felt like at Wembley. Like he lost the final and it was disappointing. But the lucky thing is we play a week later and it's another massive game and a chance to put it right.
Well, thank you for joining us, mate. Best of luck with the weekend.
Thank you.
So all eyes on Bramley Moor this weekend as England look to keep the Ashes alive. Shaun Wane and Jez Litten, along with the wider group, know that it is do or die at Everton's new stadium. It's a packed house, it's a sellout, it's the second Ashes test. We'll see you at Everton.